Sign it, or I'll have you arrested. That was the very first thing she said to me. The woman in the screaming fuchsia suit, standing on my dock at 6:47 in the morning, finger stabbing at a clipboard like she was trying to puncture the Atlantic. Her heels clicked against the planks as 3 police cruisers blocked the only way out of Sapphire Marina, blue lights flashing through the fog. I was still unloading my fishing nets, hadn't even had a sip of coffee, and here's this parade of power, demanding I pay $8,500 as some kind of HOA initiation fee. She didn't blink, just counted down from 60, saying if I didn't sign, the officers would escort me off her property for criminal trespass. Yeah, that happened. I set my crate down, felt the cold bite into the scars where 3 fingers used to be, reminders of an accident at the shipyard that cost me a lot, but also bought me this dock. Peace, finally. Or so I thought. I tried to keep my voice steady. She had a crowd now. Early fishermen watching, seagulls circling overhead, the whole scene teetering between comedy and crisis. Ma'am, I bought this dock yesterday. It's private property. I don't need to join your HOA. She threw her head back and laughed, loud enough to make the birds scatter. Oh, you poor, naive man. I'm Celeste Whitmore, president of the Sapphire Marina HOA for 11 years. Every dock, every slip, every inch of waterfront falls under us. Article 47B of our charter, complete authority over maritime commerce in this zone. 47 people had their phones out now, filming as the sun caught the gold letters on her clipboard, her badge of office, apparently. Behind her, leaning on a white Bentley, was her husband, looking like he was waiting to order a martini. Article 47B doesn't exist, I said, flipping on my own camera. Florida Statute 720.3075 says HOAs have no authority over commercial maritime property unless it's in the original deed. I checked. Twice. And for the first time, her confidence cracked, a little tick in her eyebrow. She spun to the nearest cop, accusing me of refusing lawful orders and making threats, wanting me arrested. The lead officer, Morrison, looked like he'd rather be anywhere else but here. Sir, I'll need to see your identification and proof of ownership. I reached for my wallet, felt something else. A badge, not ready for that reveal yet. Of course, officer. Here's my license and deed. Signed, notarized, yesterday at 4:15. While Morrison read my paperwork, old Pete, the kind of fisherman who looks like he belongs in a Hemingway novel, shuffled up and whispered, "She's done this before, friend. 7 dock owners in 3 years. All sold to Whitmore Development for pennies." I glanced at the marina, for yachts, each stamped with the Whitmore logo, gold anchor, and dollar signs. Suddenly, the pattern felt obvious, like a puzzle I'd been handed the last piece to. Morrison handed my documents back, cleared his throat. "Mr. Knox, looks like you're not required to join the HOA." Celeste's face went tight. "Theodore, called Judge Martinez. We need an injunction." Her husband dialed with the confidence of a man who kept judges on speed dial. Meanwhile, 3 lawyers in dark suits materialized, sharks in a feeding frenzy. "You know," I said, voice a little louder for the crowd. "It's interesting how quick you called backup, Mrs. Whitmore. Almost like you expected me to fight back. How many others gave in before I showed up?" What she didn't know? I had her entire little show recorded on my phone. And that's when the show really started. The crowd grew. Dock workers, restaurant staff, a news van rolling up. Celeste turned it up for the audience. "This man is a danger to our community. Without HOA oversight, his dock could become a haven for drugs, crime, even illegal immigrants." The air turned sour, accusations thick as oil. I held my ground, voice clear across the water. That's quite a claim, especially for a disabled vet just looking for some peace. A lawyer, Hartley, stepped forward, offering me $20,000 to walk away, no legal trouble. I just shook my head. "It's worth 200 grand. Got the assessment right here." He smiled, all teeth, no warmth. "Not anymore. We could make your life miserable. Daily fines, legal challenges, inspections every week. Is a dock worth it?" Behind them, Theodore finished his call, typing like a madman. Celeste softened her tone, all fake sympathy, eyes flicking to my hand. "Why make it harder? Take the offer. Go fish somewhere else." The crowd didn't buy it. Old Pete barked out, "You ran me off last year with the same lie." Said I owed $30,000 in fees for an HOA that didn't exist when I bought my place. Celeste turned on him, but Pete wasn't done. Funny how those violations vanished when Whitmore Development bought it. The crowd rumbled. Stories bubbled up of bogus fines, forced sales, health violations that seemed to appear out of thin air. I pulled up property records. Interesting, Whitmore Development has bought 12 waterfront properties in 3 years, all for less than 30% market value, all previously fined by the HOA. Hartley tried to brush it off. Nothing illegal about buying distressed properties. Distressed or deliberately targeted? I countered, waving a copy of an email between Celeste and a health inspector about targeting protocols for non-compliant owners. Celeste turned pale. That's privileged. It was attached to court records from Pete's lawsuit, I replied. Dismissed by your husband, Judge Whitmore. Conflict of interest, much? The crowd roared now, the news crew rolling tape. Celeste tried to shift the blame, demanded I be cited for disturbing the peace. Morrison hesitated, but Celeste leaned in, whispering about his fitness for duty and donations from her father-in-law. That did it. He pulled out his citation book. But before he could write, I made a choice. Sergeant, before you do that, look at this. I flipped my wallet, flashed a badge, State Maritime Inspector, Criminal Division. The reaction? Instant silence. Celeste recoiled. Theodore froze. I've been investigating Whitmore Development for 8 months. Today was the sting. Celeste stammered, calling it entrapment. No, ma'am. Entrapment is convincing someone to commit a crime. All I did was buy a dock. You did everything else. Fake calls, threats, trying to weaponize police. The crowd pressed in. Anyone here who's been targeted, please stay. Agents will take your statements. If you're part of this scheme, I shot a look at the lawyers. I'd call your own attorney. The AG will be in touch. Celeste frantically tried to delete something from her phone. Theodore, call your father. He never got the chance. 3 unmarked SUVs barreled into the lot. Agents and windbreakers everywhere. Financial Crimes Division, I announced. They're especially curious how HOA funds were laundered through Whitmore Development and into political campaigns. Celeste finally snapped, hurling her clipboard, papers flying. You don't know who you're dealing with. My father-in-law is Senator Whitmore. He'll have your badge. You mean the senator under federal investigation for taking bribes from maritime companies? I asked, holding up my phone. The one whose votes magically align with your property buys? The crowd buzzed. Phones out, live streams up. Theodore was intercepted by agents. We have a warrant for your vehicle and offices, they said. Celeste's lawyer started getting cuffed for conspiracy and fraud. Celeste, desperate, called her father-in-law, only to hear the FBI was already at his house. She spun on me. You set me up. I bought a dock. You ran your scam. That's all on you. And then came the twist. The Blacktown car, U.S. Senate plates. Out stepped Senator Whitmore, 71 and thunderous, parting the crowd. What's the meaning of this? Agent Knox met him, badge up. Sir, you're under arrest for bribery, corruption, conspiracy. The warrant was signed this morning. The senator blustered, demanded the attorney general, only to be told it was the AG who signed the order. For a moment, time stopped. The crowd was silent, even the gulls stilled. Do you remember the Whitmore shipping accident? I asked him. 3 fingers, almost my life. You pressured OSHA to bury the report. He sneered, but phones everywhere buzzed. Hashtag Whitmore corruption trending, CNN broadcasting live. Celeste shrieked as she was loaded into an SUV. Daddy will fix this. He always does. Theodore, already defeated, murmured. Not this time, Celeste. The senator stared me down. You have no idea what you've done. No, I said, we're just getting started. And that chemical spill, EPA's reopening the case. Federal crime. His face crumpled as the car rolled away, and the marina exploded in applause. The news crew rushed up. Any statement? I just said, corruption thrives in silence. Today proved when we stand together, we win. Then I headed for my boat. Dock finally mine. Satisfaction after years of fear. The Whitmores had taken my fingers, tried to take my voice, but it was their greed that finished them. As I prepared to leave, Pete called out, You gonna keep this dock? I smiled at the cardboard sign someone taped over Celeste's old one. Corruption-free zone. Bullies not welcome. Yeah, Pete, I think I will. This place needs someone to look out for it. The The people of Sapphire Marina were taking back their waterfront, one dock at a time. But as my phone buzzed, a message from Agent Knox about the investigation reaching DC, I knew the fight was just beginning. Here's the thing, and I want to know what you think. If someone tried to shake you down for an $8,500 fee that didn't even exist, would you pay or push back? Ever seen power like that abuse its reach in your community? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because justice only works if we all stand up, together. And if this story got you fired up, hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And let's keep the pressure on the folks who think they're untouchable. After all, the only thing that really protects us is each other.